Chapter 1. Raj set his fedora on a wooden picnic table alongside 2 plastic dinosaurs and a cup of herbal tea. He'd have rather had coffee, but it was nice that the pub had even offered a non-alcoholic drink this late in the evening. He eased down on the cleanest plank of the bench seat. Fawn had been a really poor choice for this outing, but they were the only clean trousers left that matched his new turquoise shirt. Why his mentor Powell insisted he attend these pub meets every Wednesday was beyond Raj. The Council for Magically Inclined People, aka SIMP, never listened to his suggestions to improve or modernize any spells. Sadly, until he got his level 5 promotion to Journeyman, he'd have to follow Paulo's whims. Raj pulled his mobile phone out of the cargo pocket on his trousers, and he flicked to the app he'd developed that counted in multiples of any number. If Raj's hypothesis was correct, this app would generate magical energy much quicker than traditional counting. He keyed in the number 2. The device produced 100 multiples of the digit in seconds, enough to create a small glow around the toy. The power was less than the manual recitation, but considering how quickly the device created the set, a little reduction would hardly be noticeable. He changed the variable to 5, and then to 6, and then to 7. The number sets flew over the screen with each new multiplication. The magical power built in the handset until it was vibrating so hard it rattled Raj's teeth. 3 apprentices raced past him to the back of the pub garden. One kid swung a long stick like a sword. "Prepare to die, foul dragon!" The branch narrowly missed Raj. He shifted his drink away from the edge of the table. Sir George's flock of hoodie-clad hooligans were more enthusiastic than precise. At least playing tag would burn off some of their excess energy, and they might settle down before midnight. Raj turned his attention back to the experiment and moved the green plastic dinosaur into the center of the table. Energy lines snaked out from the number generator on his phone and around the toy, corralling it in a way that, if it had been actually alive, it'd be paralyzed. This was so exciting. The app could build the number sets to infinity. That would make it as powerful as a pie slicer. He'd get his promotion for sure now. There was no way his mentor could deny him his progress to level 5 magic with this kind of proof. Raj took a breath. He couldn't get ahead of himself. He needed an actual magical creature to test this out on. As much as he'd have liked to have used one of the noisy apprentices, the senior mage would fuss over that. He'd have to find a sprite. The space cadets sprouted like mushrooms around the pub that hosted the SIMP meetings, and they were too loopy to run far. "You 3! Help me find a mushroom fairy." Raj moved to the thick hedge that enclosed the garden. "Ugh, that sounds boring," whined one of the lads. "You gonna make us?" The tallest youth threw a pine cone at the whining lad. The younger apprentice screamed his outrage and charged at his playmate, slapping everything in his path with his sword. Raj squatted down to peer under the shrubs while keeping his chinos clean. "No, but it's at least more useful than hitting things with sticks." "As useful as playing with toys." The taller apprentice kicked the table where Raj had set up his experiment. The green dinosaur fell over with a resounding boom that echoed through the garden. The kid stumbled back, then fell over, and he lay motionless on the grass. A surge of pride washed over Raj. He wasn't quite how he'd planned to test the spell, but the containment enchantment had worked. The other apprentices gathered round in a concerned huddle. One poked his mate with a stick. Then, when the bigger kid didn't move, the lad ran into the pub. Although the spell shouldn't have been lethal, the idiot had taken a direct hit. If Raj made a mistake, his heart sped up. It had been nearly impossible to concentrate with the ruckus the unqualified junior mages were making. It was possible he'd not set up the parameters correctly. He ran over to the kid, trying to see if the jerk was breathing. Sir George's newly promoted journeyman Tamsin strolled out of the pub. a pint of stout in one hand and a cigar in the other. Raj's stomach sank. Of all the people to see this mistake, she was the worst. She'd only qualified last year, but she still lorded the fact she was 2 grades above Raj. The sassy way she flipped the ash from her smoke didn't help either. He always left a flutter of butterflies in the pit of his stomach. She lit the stump and ambled up to the group. "So what's this I hear about Bart being dead?" Raj shook the kid's shoulder. Hopefully it would release the containment spell. A moment later, thank heavens, the kid took a sharp breath in. "I'm okay!" He sprang up and waved the stick again, deliberately knocking Raj's phone off the picnic table. "Behave yourself, boy. You've disturbed Raj's, What spell were you attempting with that?" She took another puff of her smoke, gesturing at the toys with the stogie. Raj picked up his phone, but the screen was smashed beyond repair. It had lost the spell. It was a digitally enhanced containment. Digitally enhanced? Tamsin hitched up her jeans and drained the last of her beer. Did Paolo approve that? A hot flush rose in Raj's cheeks. He was 10 years older than any other apprentice. Just because he didn't use traditional props didn't mean he needed a mentor. And it wasn't his fault that the magic worked better with computers than chalk and candle wax. It's still experimental. I didn't want to bother. Ugh, bother? He's your mentor for a reason. Having your work fact-checked keeps you youngsters safe. Tamsin pulled a mini abacus from her waxed oilskin jacket and flicked the beads to position to summon Paolo. A few minutes later, Paolo stormed out. The wind caught his long white beard and tangled it in the buckles of his black leather jacket, ruining any grandness his age and rank might have inspired. Tamsin gestured at Raj with her empty pint glass. "You lad's messing with digitally enhanced spells. Might want to have a word in his shell-like ear before he kills one of Granddad's apprentices." Paolo stalked up to Raj, trying to loom, even though he was an inch shorter. "Didn't I forbid digital magic?" Raj just stared at his feet. "There's nothing wrong." Paolo hadn't actually said anything about how the number sets were created. "It's just a generator. I used chalk to draw the containment pattern." "It's not natural." "Well, nothing about magic is natural." "Right, that's it. You're on window cleaning duty for the rest of the year." "But, I can't. You know louders make me dizzy." Paolo's puffed-out cheeks turned bright red with rage, making him look like Santa Claus had taken up motorcycle riding instead of driving sleds. "You should have thought of that before you endangered one of your cohort with this reckless and willful obstruction of my implied rules." Raj blinked a few times. Was his mentor making a joke? That statement was complete gibberish. Tamsin patted Raj on the back with a wicked grin. "Bit of discipline'll do you good. Might even pass your review this year." As the senior magicians returned to the pub, Bart blew a raspberry at Raj, and then whacked the green plastic dinosaur into the bushes. A lithe sprite grabbed the toy in a loving embrace and dragged it further into the shadows of the hedgerow.